Yo, 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 what's up, what's up? Welcome, 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 one and all, to the Show What You're Saying podcast. As of course, I am your host with the most, Willie Will. I want to thank everybody for joining us this evening. I know I look a little sketchy with my background, but I'm gonna have that fixed up in a couple weeks. I have a couple things I got to do with that. But anyway, what's going on, everybody? Happy Friday. Hope everybody is having a wonderful, wonderful Friday evening. It has been we've all gotten through another week. We are all going, getting through what we getting through. And of course, the more time goes on, the more we are getting closer to that day, Halloween. I hope everybody is preparing their kids for Halloween, getting them all dressed up, getting them all prepared for the Halloween, the spooky season. And I want to thank everybody who's going to join us. Everybody's going to listen later on. I hope once again, I hope everybody is having a wonderful Friday. And I want everybody to have a wonderful, wonderful weekend, as of course. So, what do we got going on here today? Hold on one sec. Let me see if I can just fix that up real quick. Let's see if that. No, it's gonna still looking a little. Yeah, that's the problem. Let's see what it looks like now. Okay, I might have to go down five more. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, just trying to get the green shoe so at least I'm not fading out. Okay, there we go. Maybe a couple more. Yeah, I'm gonna have to. I gotta get a better light source to make sure this works. Like the other light source I had worked pretty well, but I get this feeling that it could always be better. And like I said, I want it to be better. I want it to have a good quality, and it's gonna look better. I'm gonna get a better light source for all of this, and we'll get it together. But anyway, what do we got going on here for today's show? So today's show, we have. Hold up, let me see what's going on here. Okay, there we go. On today's show, uh, we're definitely going to talk about the uh, the midterm elections. 2 3 weeks, people will be going to vote, and you know when it's all said and done with, it could be a good thing for the country. It could be a bad thing for the country. It can be good, it could be bad, and then it could be horrible. And I'm going to tell you what all three of those are going to be: good, bad, and horrible. That's how that could be. Um, then we're definitely gonna get into Kanye West, your boy Kanye. Let's just say your boy. Like I don't know what's wrong. I don't know what's wrong with him. I'm not understanding what's going on. Of course, I'm gonna give my "Get the Fuck Out of Here" award. Um, Definitely got to give that once a week, and you know what I'm saying. Hopefully, we'll get some input from you guys, and of course, part three of our spooky review in this year's spooky season. Today's review will be the classic, one of my favorite spooky movies. Definitely, it's definitely a definite classic, which will be Final Destination 2. Final Destination 2 is this week's spooky review, and that's what it's going to be. And of course, I'll maybe get into a couple other things. But other than that, it's going to be a good show. I'm going to try to keep it moving along. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm waiting for something uh, to come. It should have been here before I started, but unfortunately, as we all know, um, when it comes to deliveries, Grubhub, DoorDash, and all those things, it they all, you know, move when they want to move, as always. But of course, before we get into any of the goings on with today's show, of course, gotta let you know where to find me. Gotta let you know how to hit me up. Got to let you know how to find all of my content. So, as always, look to the screen. You can email me at sowwhatyousaying5 at gmail.com. That's SOWUTUSAYIN 5 at gmail.com. You can also find us on Facebook at So What You Saying, Instagram, So What You Saying, Twitter at What Said, my link tree, So What You Saying, and please find us on Twitch. If you have Twitch, please look us up on Twitch. So What You Saying, that's SOWTUSAYIN. Please find us on Twitch. Give us a like. Give us a follow. It would greatly help spread the community and make this thing bigger than what it is already. So, how's everybody doing today? I hope everybody's again had a great week, good work week. I hope everybody is, rested and relaxed, and like I said, getting ready for the spooky season. Like I said, I have I'm not big into the Halloween thing. Like I tell people, I could skip Halloween altogether. You could give me Thanksgiving right quick. Give me that right quick. Give me Thanksgiving, and we'll be ready to go for me. Um, but there are a lot of people who love Halloween. A lot of adults. I mean, don't get me wrong. I can understand the kids loving Halloween, but I'm an adult. All right, I'm a grown ass man. I'm not into Halloween. I've never seen so many adults into Halloween like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not mad. Like that's what you do. That's what you like. That's your thing. But for me, and no, I'm not a Halloween person. Like I said, if it was up to me, we could skip and go straight to and go straight to Thanksgiving if it was for me. Yeah, I ain't gonna lie. I'm fat. I'm greedy. I like to eat, and that is why if it was up to me, we would be. If it was up to me, I'd be on. I'd be getting myself prepared for Thanksgiving, but I'm not. And Thanksgiving, after everything I've been through, um, I will, when Thanksgiving gets here, I'll be thankful for for Thanksgiving to come. Sorry about that, guys. I was just checking in on the stream, checking in on the stream, making sure it's healthy. You gotta make sure these things work. You're talking about making sure making sure all technical things work on your end. And it is what it is, as always. Got to make sure they all work and make sure everything is working on all ends. So anyway, where do I start? Let's start with you know what? Let's start with the midterm elections. I'm going to get into this because we need to get into the midterm elections. People need to understand exactly what is on the line with these midterm elections. And I'm going to tell you exactly what is on the line with the midterm elections. As you can see, um, first, anything that our current president, President Joe Biden, wants to try to institute, Republicans are very much against it. And because, and let's be honest, there's a reason why they're very much against it. First, all these people are giving Trump the world's biggest blowjob. It's like all the Republicans are lining up to get this nigga some head. Outside of Liz Cheney and Adam Kinzinger, who are both Republicans, are leaving office at the end of this cycle. All these niggas is giving this nigga head. Marjorie Taylor Greene is giving this nigga head. Well, maybe not so much Mitch McConnell, but you got Marjorie Taylor Greene, you got Ted Cruz, you got Mark DeSantis, got Marco Rubio. I mean, the list goes on, and these niggas is just lining up to get this nigga some head. Lining up. It's not like they're. It's not like they're. It's not like they are, coming with. Not like they're coming with their own agendas and their own strategies to help make their where they represent better, which in turn could make the world better and make the world go around better. It's all about power. You got to understand, they got people running for office that have no business holding any type of public federal office whatsoever, a la Herschel Walker, a la Marjorie Taylor Greene. And what people have to understand is this. Now, I have a friend who's very radical and is into all these different things and doesn't believe in the Democrats and all this. But this is what people have to understand. There's no politician on the face of this earth that is good for everyone. But this is what I want to understand. Okay? So we've had mass shootings, we've had Parkland, we've had, we're actually running down guys now who are buying these guns. And they're young. We're talking 18, 19 years old. First, let me say this. There should be no 15, 16, 17, 18-year-old with an AR-15, an assault rifle. Hell, assault rifles should not be legally allowed to be sold in the United States, in any state. There's hunting rifles. Assault rifles for me are for people who are going to war. So essentially, you got an AR-15, you basically going to shoot somebody. You going to kill a bunch of people. You are definitely going to kill a bunch of motherfuckers with an AR-15. That should not be able to be legally purchased at any store, any gun show, any of that. Why? I'm going to tell you why. What purpose is it serving for a regular person, a regular human being, to be running around with an AR-15 or having one in your house? Tell me, what purpose does it serve for you to have that? None. No purpose whatsoever for you to have that. But the Republicans would have you believe that people are trying to take away your right to bear arms. Nobody's trying to take away your right to bear arms. That is for you, and it is written in the Second Amendment in the Constitution of the United States of America. But what we're trying to do is limit the fact that crazy people getting hold of these fucking weapons. An AR-15 should not be sold to anybody. That is a war gun, and that should be left for the Army, for the military, for the Marines, for the Air Force, for any of those military branches that go to war to protect our country. For a regular human being, for a civilian, we should not have access to an AR-15. None at all. No access whatso frickin' ever. But that's only part of the reason. Part of the reason why I need people to get up and vote. Women, I definitely need you to get up and vote. Why? Because your bodily autonomy right now is on the line. I have not lived in a society where we have not been able to make decisions where it comes to our health, where it comes to things of this, when it comes to our personal things, our health, when we start a family, things like that. I'm not living in a society or in an age where we have not been able to make that choice on our own. Granted, let me make this perfectly clear where I stand. Would I want a woman to have an abortion where it comes to having one of my children? No, I would not. But do I understand that it is a woman's right to choose, and it is her right if she wants to have a baby or not? Where it comes to my situation, I do. Would I be hurt? Sure, of course. There's no reason. There's no way I wouldn't be hurt by that. But I would not want our government to be able to decide if a woman can go and make a choice like that. I wouldn't want our government to decide that, okay, you have to have a baby. You decide to have sex and get pregnant, you have to have a baby. Well, let me make this perfectly clear for you, U.S. government. First, we could all wear condoms. None of it is 100%. Women could have birth control and all that. None of it is 100%. None of it. It only takes one accident or one time So what I want people to understand is, okay, it happens. You could have took all the precautions in the world, but it happens. And maybe you don't want to have this. This woman doesn't want to have it. That should be a choice between her, her doctor, the relationship of the person that she's dealing with. These are the people that should be able to make these choices. Not the U.S. government, not at all. And let's go beyond that. Let's pick it up one level. Let's pick it up another level. Okay? So we have guns. We have a woman's right to choose. They're even trying to get rid of contraceptives so that you could basically run around A and get you could basically run around A and get an STD. You could basically run around B and get a woman pregnant anywhere you want to. These are things that are continuously these are things they want to take away. And then let's not forget, this is all about a power grab. This is not about what's best for you and me. It's a power grab. Granted, don't get me wrong, both sides want power. But then there's one side that wants power to get things done. And it's showing you in the fact that they've passed legislation to get things done. And then there's one side that just wants the wants the power so they could just pass their agenda and do what the fuck they want to. I want you to think about something. You think if Republicans were in power that Trump would have got caught with all those documents in Mar-a-Lago? I think not. Do you think if they were in power, Republicans were in power, we'd have the January 6th committee? I think not. But you can see in places where they are in power, the things they're doing. And for us as black people, they're doing it against us because guess what? They just can't believe they can't believe we as people will actually go out and vote against them. So what they're not understanding is what your agenda is not popular. What your agenda is not going to help the United States of America, not going to help the people. We elect you to do our bidding, to get things done on our behalf, not to get things done to keep lining your fucking pockets. A la this whole thing with oil and gas. This ain't doing nothing but lining these Republicans' pockets. I mean, the whole thing with fossil fuels, our reliance on fossil fuels. Really? Which is damaging our ozone layer, which is fucking up everything for us. We need a planet to live on. So because you want to just go ahead and fuck up the ozone layer and fuck up the planet, don't take the rest of us with you. Fuck up your own shit, not our shit. Let's start with that. And then the most important thing of it all is I want people to understand these people are not bright. They're not. They're not honest. But there really is no politician that is really that honest. But they are not honest. They have proven they are not honest. A la Herschel Walker. All I want is for people to understand this. You ain't got to vote the way I would vote. That's not what I want you to do. Because understand something. What may be important for me, may not be important for you. So I don't want you to vote in the manner in which I may vote. Because the manner in which I may vote may not be may not be the way you would vote. What the heck? Oh, okay. All right. So sorry about that. I was just checking something out. And again, the way I vote may not be the way you vote. Why does it have no? There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Had to fix something here in Twitch. But anyway, the way I vote may not be the way you vote. And you gotta understand, just because I vote one way, I want you to vote for in the way you would vote for yourself. Because what people don't understand is the way I may vote is going to be important for me and mine. It's not going to be important for you. Or what I may find important, you may not find important. So again, I'm not saying that we should. I'm not saying that that what I'm saying is not accurate or true. But what I'm saying is you have to come to the realization that we are now at a turning point. It's a war going on outside no man is safe from. And you have to understand that if you if you can't defend what you stand for or defend what this country was built for, because you got to remember, if they take power, black people will not be able to vote, or they will try to take that from us. They will basically try to exile us from out of this fucking country when people don't understand it was because of us this fucking country was built. It was built on the backs of our ancestors. So I want people to understand that this is the time that this is a very big turning point in the history of man, of mankind altogether. And we have to decide we have to decide what side of history we want to be on. And I'm going to be honest, I want to be on the side of history that helps everybody grow, prosper, and become the best they can be. Where everybody has, where when our children grow up, when my daughter gets to be grown, and I want people to understand, I have to make sure I'm on top of all these things because my daughter in a few years will be an adult and have to deal with the things that I deal with on a regular basis. And I want her to be able to get up and I want her to be able to go into a world where she has the right to do A, B, and C. Where she doesn't have to worry about going to school and somebody might be pulling out an AR-15 and she may lose her life. In a world where she ain't got to worry about her dad walking outside and because he's a black male, he may not come home. So there you have it, folks. It's up to you. You can decide what side you want to be on, what's important for you, and if these things are important to you, or there are other things important to you, bring them to the table. Nobody will be mad at you. Hold up, that is hello. Yep, yes, yep. I'm gonna buzz you in now. Hold on one second, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Well, I am back. I am back. Sorry about that. Like I said, I knew I had something coming and being delivered. Unfortunately, nobody told them to take 5 years to bring what I ordered. But it is here. It's definitely here. I got everything I need. Ah, wonderful. Hold up. There we go. There we go. All right. So back to what I was discussing. So, like I said, this is like I said, this is an important time for everyone, not just me, but you also. And I need people to understand. We need to get up and go vote. We need to get up and turn out to make sure that our voices are heard. They're heard loud and clear. That we're not going to take this line down, and that we run this country. It's our taxpayer dollars that put you in that office, that pays your salary to sit there to take care of business for us. And that it is not to be taken for granted. Because the moment you don't do what we need you to do, as quick as you got in, is as quick as you can get out. So with that being said, let's move on to this week's spooky review. So this week's spooky review is the 2003 classic Final Destination 2. Now, I will say this. I saw the first Final Destination. And I saw it and I was like, okay, I like this premise. But I also was like, there's just some things missing from this premise that I kind of was like, hey, like, this is what we need to make this to make this go. And so, but I did enjoy the first movie, but not as much as I enjoyed the second Final Destination. So, before I get into the view and the breakdown of the movie, let me show you guys the trailer, and then I will be back with my review for the movie. Let me show you guys.
Which means death could be coming for us.
I have this really bad feeling. It's not over yet.
All right, I had
I have this really bad
a
feeling.
little issue
It's not over yet.
with. All right, I had a. Hold on one sec. Oh, there we go. That's why it was. It was double playing. I had a little issue with my audio. So I'm going to replay the trailer for you guys. Oh wow! It went back to the wrong joint. There we go. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. This thing,
Dialpad is where work comes
but we
together.
gonna get to it. I got you.
It gives
Hold on
us
one sec.
one.
There you go.
Kimberly, look at me. There's gonna be a huge accident. Everybody's gonna die.
Being alive after we were supposed to die caused a rift in Death's design.
Which means death may be coming for us.
I have this really bad feeling. It's not over yet.
All right, there we go. So there goes the trailer for Final Destination 2. I accidentally, had some things going on, but here you go. So here's how the movie begins. So in the opening scene, while the credits are going on and everything else, in the background is a television show. And in the show, the guy is talking about death and death's design. That death is all around us, and that we could, we should be looking out. And of course, the television show, the moderator on the show, the host of the show is telling them, hey, you're full of crap and all that other good stuff. And so this is where you meet Kim. Kim gets up, or Kimberly gets up, and she, hears this show, but of course, she is like everybody else, is not really paying it no attention. So we move on to the next scene, and she's packing her SUV, and she's going to Daytona Beach for spring break. No big deal. That's just what young people do. Go to spring break, you have a good time, and all the other good stuff. She's on her way to spring break, and she's going with her friend Shayna, her friend Dano, and her friend Frankie. So, of course, she leaves her house with Shayna. She gives her dad a hug. She gets in the car, she's gone. Somewhere along the line, she picked up her friend Frankie Adena. So they're in this car and they're driving. They're getting ready to get on the ramp to go to U.S. Route 23 to go to make their way to Daytona. One, I think it's Dano, is in the back rolling the blunt, getting ready, or Frankie's in the back rolling the blunt, got mad weed, about to get high, but they're in the back of this SUV and they on their way. So as she gets on the turnpike or on the highway, she starts, just seeing things. You just noticing stuff. And, she almost crashes into a logging truck. And like I said, she's looking around. She's looking at people. She's looking at different things. She's starting to notice different things. Starting to notice signs and everything. Her friend Shayna is on the side talking about, don't worry about it. You're fine. Your dad, you'll be okay. Blah, 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 blah. And, Kimberly is starting to get a strange feeling. She's starting to get a strange feeling. So she's like, and mind you, this is 1 year to the day of Flight 180, which, again, is the flight in the first Final Destination. And she's starting to see things. She's starting to get, weird vibes. And she's seeing all the people that are about to get their life taken. They're all driving past her and all this other good stuff. Now, I could describe for you the scene that's about to go down, but I think it's better that you guys see this shit and see exactly what happens next. Up, and here we go. Now, this is all I'm saying. That, yo, that's crazy. That's crazy. That's definitely crazy. Like, I mean, what could happen? And of all the things that could happen. So anyway. Moving on. So she has a premonition that is what's about to happen. Like, she sees it as vividly as you just saw it in that scene. All right? So she has the premonition, and she decides, you know what? We not doing it. So she pulls up, takes her car, parks it in front of the entrance to the Route 23, and the police officer that got it first, he pulls up. He's like, yo, what's going on? He gets out the car. He pulls up. He gets out the car. He's like, yo, what's going on? And she tells him, yo, there's about to be a big, giant-ass accident over here on Route 23. Of course, everybody's trying to get to where they're going, so they a little upset. And, the police officer gets back into the car. I mean, the police officer tells everybody to get back into the car. And so this is where you're kind of introduced to the other characters. Lottery winner Eva Lewis, mother Nora Carpenter and her son Tim, businesswoman Kat Jennings, guy getting high that you saw in the thing, that's Rory. You'll see Isabella, who's pregnant, who plays somewhat of a role in this. And then you'll see the guy on the motorcycle, Eugene, and the police officer's name is Thomas. So what happens is she's telling him, look, there's about to be an accident. It's going to be a big, giant accident. This is what's going to happen on U.S. Route 23. Of course, nobody's believing her. What happens? The accident happens. You hear in the background, you hear all the cars starting to pile up. You see it. They got people who she blocked off the highway are starting to see this joint. And Kimberly's turning around watching it happen, and the cop runs to his car to call in for backup, and the EMS to come for this accident. But he ends up running behind and saving Kim from getting hit by a truck, but couldn't save her friends as this truck hits her car with her friends Shayna, Dano, and Frankie in the car. Car explodes. She, of course, is like everybody else. She's distraught. She's crying. Thomas is consoling her. And, this is what happens. Like, this was crazy. This was definitely crazy. It was definitely crazy. So, next scene, they go to police station. The guys, one of the police officers is telling them about Flight 180. They're talking about Flight 180 and what the correlation of what just happened on U.S. Route 23. The officer's like, this crazy stuff happens, blah, blah, blah. He goes, listens to Kimberly. He goes into the other room and listens to Kimberly talk about what she saw before the accident happened. So all the survivors are questioned. Of course, Eugene is making fun of it, talking about, oh, death can come get you. It's death design, and telling her exactly what's going on. What really is going on is that death is like death has a design, and the fact that they were all supposed to be in that accident, but they all were saved, is going to cause death to spin the block, basically. And death is going to spin the block, and it's going to come get him. Now, of course, nobody's believing it. Nobody. Everybody's like, yeah, whatever. This ain't nothing that's going to happen. So, Kim's father comes and gets her, and everybody leaves. So, what happens? We go to the next scene. We go to the first guy to get it, Evan. Now, mind you, Evan just won the lottery. Just won the lottery. So Evan goes home. He done got him a Mac. He done got him a designer watch. Then got him a ring. You know, he started spending that lottery money. Now, mind you, it wasn't a whole lot of money. It was $250,000. So you figure, you know, after taxes, probably going to be about $150. Take $100,000 off that. So he was spending a little bread, but he didn't have a whole lot of money. So he goes in his house. Apartment is nasty. So he's getting ready to start. He's getting ready to, make him something to eat. Go in his freezer. First he goes in the refrigerator, takes out some nasty, how many day old Chinese food. Then he goes in his freezer and puts it right next to where his refrigerator, on the counter next to the refrigerator. So then the next thing, he goes to his freezer. He whatever that was, I don't know if it was mozzarella sticks, some nasty shit. Pour some oil in the pan, throws the mozzarella sticks in the pan. So he goes over to the sink, right? And of course, you know something about to happen because the wind starts blowing and you start seeing some shit. Okay. So he's looking at this ring. He puts this watch on, his designer watch on. First, he presses to hear his messages. Then he puts this designer watch on. The messages are playing in the background, a bunch of females trying to get some of that money. So he gets the watch, he looks at the watch. Then he takes out the ring. Accidentally drops the ring into the sink and it falls down into the sinkhole. But his sink happens to have a garbage disposal in it. And while he was sitting in Chinese food, the couple day old Chinese food next to the refrigerator, a magnet fell into the Chinese food. And instead of him checking it before he puts it in there, puts it in the microwave, he just put it in the microwave, started the microwave up. So he sticks his hand down into the sink, and he's trying to, get the ring out. And while he's trying to get the ring out, his arm gets stuck. But then you can hear the microwave crack-a-lacking, popping, pat, 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 because it got metal in it. And that's just that. But his arm gets stuck in the garbage disposal. And all while that's going on, whatever he was cooking in the pan that he had catches on fire. So his arm is stuck. His arm is stuck. And the microwave is popping, about to explode, and his kitchen is now catching on fire. He finally gets his arm unstuck. He breaks the window, and he goes out the fire escape. So he goes out the fire escape. His apartment explodes. And then he goes down, boom, boom, boom. He's going down the fire escape. He gets down. He slips and falls. Falls on his back. He's like, Then the fire escape ladder starts to come down. Starts to come down fast. And it stops. He thinks he made it. Fire escape ladder comes down. It impales him through the head. Through the head. In his eye. Just blang, right into the floor. And what happens is, everybody starts seeing. So everybody's listening to what's going on. Everybody's listening to the news, and then everybody happens to hear that Evan got impaled. So then, the police officer is looking into Flight 180. And Kimberly starts not being able to sleep. So she looks up Clear Rivers, from the only survivor from the first Final Destination. The only one. So she looks her up. And she looks up because she's in a psych ward. She checked herself into a psych ward. And, so Claire looks her up to go see her. So what happens is, she goes to the psych ward, and Kimberly's walking through this thing. The doctor's like, you have any cell phones, blah, 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 sharp objects, anything like that. And so finally, when they get to where Claire's room is, Claire she asks the doctor, what do you think, I'm going to be dangerous? She's like, no. She thinks you might be dangerous. So then people don't realize she checked herself into a psych ward after Alex, who was the one who had the premonition in the first movie, got killed by a falling brick. And mind you, Alex didn't go nowhere. According to this movie, Alex didn't go nowhere after this movie. He stayed in the house and still got killed by a falling brick. So Kimberly goes in this room, and she basically is telling Claire that Evan was the first one of the highway survivors to die. And he wasn't the one in the order of the death that she saw in the premonition. And so what happens is, Claire is explaining to her how this is all going. Death has a design. This is Death has a list. Death has a design, and with that being that she and these other survivors made it from getting hit or made it out of this humongous, nasty-ass accident that happened, now they're on Death's list. But she's also telling her that Death, because Evan was not the first one, that Death is coming for them, for everybody, but coming for them in reverse. It's definitely coming for them in reverse. So what happens? She asks Claire for her help. Claire refuses. And of course, they get into it. She gives her the finger as she walks out of her room. She goes back to her house, and the police officer Thomas is at her house waiting for her and explaining to her, hey, everybody's moved. I tell her I believe you. Everybody's meeting at my house later on. She's like, I thought you didn't believe me at first. She didn't. So next in order is the mother and the son. So the mother is taking the son to get, I believe, his braces adjusted or something. And all of that while Kimberly has a premonition about some damn pigeons. At first, I'm like, what the fuck is she? Pigeons? What the fuck is all that? So they go and try to find Nora and her son Tim. They're at the dentist. Like I said, Tim, I believe, is getting his braces adjusted. He goes, sits in with the doctor. Now, I'm thinking that they're about to get blown up. Because what happens is Tim is in the room, and these pigeons keep hitting up against the glass. And out in the waiting room, you see a bunch of water starting to drip by the socket where there's a fish tank and all this other stuff. So I'm like, oh, they about to get blown up. Then this while Tim is laying there, the doctor goes outside to check on what the commotion that's going outside because a pigeon just crashed through the window where the dentist's office is at. No problem. They go outside, the doctor, and then this rubber toy falls into Tim's mouth, and you think he about to choke because all the electricity just stuff went off. Ain't nothing, he ain't got no oxygen. And mind you, it's no oxygen, it's just nitrogen going up in there because he's got laughing gas on. And so you think he about to bite the bullet right there. Death coming to get him right there. Not what happened. The dental assistant comes in, saves him, whatever. I guess he finishes his procedure. They leave out the door. Kimberly and Thomas end up finding where Nora and Tim are at. And I'm assuming Kimberly and Thomas are trying to tell Nora something, and she can't hear him. And Tim, like any teenager would do, runs through some pigeons, clapping them up, trying to get the pigeons to fly away, make a commotion. What happened? The pigeons fly into the guy that's controlling this piece of glass, and Tim gets crushed by the piece of glass. So disgusting. So disgusting. Great kill, though. I will say this. This movie had a lot of great kills. A lot of great kills. Now, the third one takes it to a whole nother level, but we won't even go there. But this second one had a lot of great kills. That crushing glass, oh, that was disgusting. Because it wasn't like the glass crushed him and then, you seen his body broken in pieces. It crushed him, and it literally had his body in a puddle, pretty much. That was disgusting. It was great. The kills were spectacular. The kill was spectacular, but it was disgusting. And I will tell you this: these kills I can deal with. These kills I can definitely deal with because this is not like Hellraiser last week, where that whole shit was just fucking nasty. But of course, Nora is distraught because she just lost her son. Kim and Thomas are over there crying on Kim's crying on the other side because she tried to save them, but it didn't happen. So what happened? Kim and Thomas drive back to Kim's house, and Thomas tells Kim that Nora won't be there after what just happened to her son. And Kim is like, yo, I mean, she needs to be there. What about her safety? And Nora said it best. I mean, Thomas said it best. He don't think she gives a rat's ass. Because, quite frankly, she just lost her son. And I can't be mad at her. She just watched her son be crushed by some glass. And I mean, it was brutal. It was brutal. So when they go back to Kim's house, Claire decides to help them try to escape death. Now, let me tell you something before I move on. When it's your time, it is your time. I don't think death is worried about you escaping it, because death gonna get you. When it's your time to go, I really believe it's your time to go. Now, we all don't want to go. Let's be real. We all don't want to go, but when it's time, when God calls us home, ain't not too much we could do. So when Claire comes and decides to help, they go and meet a guy who works in the mortuary. His name is William. What happens? Now, best thing about this is Tony Todd, the guy who plays Candyman, is the guy who plays. He was the perfect person for that particular role. Let me say that, because he's creepy, he's old, and he'll make you be like, what the fuck are you talking about? So basically, he tells them that the only way to beat death's design is new life is the only way that you can defeat death. So they thought about it, and they remembered Isabella. Now, Isabella was pregnant. So they feel like Isabella has this baby. Isabella was on Route 28 with that accident, but they feel like Isabella has this baby, that everybody will be good. So they go find the truck that Isabella was driving and take Isabella into custody until she has this baby. So meanwhile, everybody goes to Officer Burke's apartment, Thomas's apartment, believing that if they stick together, they'll be all right. So eventually, Eugene and Nora decide to leave. So what happens is they're accident proofing Thomas's apartment, and what ends up happening is Rory, the drug addict, the dude that was getting high on the highway, he's putting some stuff away in Thomas's closet and notices a bunch of hooks. So then they try to get in touch with Nora, as Kimberly is giving each one of them a cell phone, and tell her that a guy with hooks is going to kill her. Now, a guy with hooks didn't kill her. What ended up happening was this guy that Nora was in the elevator with Eugene. And this creepy old white dude started smelling her head. Now, let me just say this. That's nasty. You a creepy old white man smelling people's head. That's nasty. Let me say that right now. That's nasty. So, but what he has in his hand is like a box full of artificial limbs, which have hooks on them. So while she's trying to run away from the guy, her hair gets caught on one of these hooks. And while she was trying to leave the elevator, her neck gets caught in the elevator door. And what makes it bad is the elevator starts to move. So they're trying to get her out of the elevator, and the elevator starts to move. And the one thing she said through that whole time is, I don't want to die. Well, sorry, Nora. You basically got your neck cut off by an elevator. Like, she lost that whole, oof. That was brutal too. But it is what it is. So you got. All right? All right, so moving on. They all go back to they're all at Thomas's apartment. And all the while they're leaving, I'm assuming to go to the police station. And they take Kat's SUV, who is the businesswoman, so they could go to the police station because Isabella had already been taken into custody. But all while that was going on, Isabella her water ends up breaking. So the deputy that was at the station had to take her to the hospital in her van. And then all along the way, as they're discussing things, they realize that the death of all the Flight 180 survivors, they've all come in contact with each one of these people. And it has affected their lives before the stuff on the highway even happened, and saving them from prior deaths. Which, in the end, they end up realizing that set up the sequence of events of the accidents. So then they're driving. The SUV, the tire blows out. And it almost bumps Isabella off the road. It kills her. They swerve a stack of. They swerve into some and crash into some PVC piping, which comes through the back window and goes through the driver's side headrest. But nobody dies. But the consequence of that is a log goes in through the driver's side and has Kat pinned down. Now, all of this injures Eugene, but he's not dead. He's just injured. And they call for the ambulance, and they take Eugene out. And, he looks like he's going to survive. Meanwhile, rescue workers come to try to get Kat out of the SUV. So here we go. One of the rescue guys, he's going to use the jaws of life and, pull Kat's door off, which then could release the log and they could get Kat out. Well, what happened? The jaws of life bangs into the car. The airbag goes off, and Cat's head is impaled in a piece of broken PVC pipe. Gruesome and brutal. So all the while, before this happened with Cat, a news reporting van came, and when it parked, it accidentally put a hole in the gas line. Gas starts leaking out and seeping out. What happened? Starts leaking out, starts seeping out. And it's leaking down the PVC piping that's already in the ground. So now, Kat, all this time, while she was waiting to get out from the jaws of life, she had a cigarette. She had lit a cigarette. She had a cigarette in her hand. And once she got impaled, she dropped the cigarette. And, of course, Death's wind blew that cigarette into the gasoline leak, and the van explodes. And the van explodes, and this fence, this barbed wire fence, blew off, and it cut Rory into pieces. It sliced and diced home Slizzy. And it slid, oh my God. Let's just put it this way. That particular kill looked like a Mortal Kombat fatality. It really did. That was disgusting. So finally, all while that was going on, Claire, Kimberly, and Thomas are driving to the hospital. So they're driving to the hospital, and they get to the hospital, and what happens is Kimberly has a vision about a Dr. Kalarjian. And she's had a vision about falling into a lake in a white truck, and she thinks Dr. Kalarjian will euthanize Isabella. But as you'll find out, it doesn't turn out to be true. What happens is Isabella's baby, the umbilical cord is wrapped around his neck. And what happens is they needed Dr. Kalarjian so they could save the baby. But the baby ends up getting born, no problem. They got the umbilical cord off the baby's neck. Baby was born nice and healthy. That's a big ass fucking baby. Let me just say that. That was born. That, like, Isabella had a fucking linebacker at birth. So eventually what ends up happening is Kimberly has another premonition and realizes that Isabella was never supposed to die in the pilot on Route 28. So what happens is they have to figure that when they thought they had defeated death, they did. And all the while, Eugene is in his room, and Death is in there fucking with him the whole time. His oxygen just came out. It closed the vents in his room. Eugene was about to be fucked up in the game. And right after Isabella had that baby, all of that stopped. But Death wasn't done yet. So Clea went to go see Eugene. But with all that going on, Clea opened the door. A spark came from his machines that started a fire and killed Eugene and Clea in an explosion. Kimberly, hands is bleeding and all that, but then she realizes that the vision that she has from the hospital was her vision, that she had to die in order for them to bring her back. And what happens is she gets in an ambulance. Oh, and before she runs out, she says, "Get Dr. Kalarjian." She runs out. She gets in the hospital. She gets in the ambulance. She drives the ambulance into the lake. It falls down. She essentially dies. Bert goes in, dives in. He saves her, gets Dr. Kalarjian, and they save her. They bring her back to life. Which, in the end, that kills Death's design. So they get to the end. They're having a picnic with the guys from the logging, Gibbons, Kimberly's dad, Burke, and then Gibbons tells them that their son was nearly hit by the newsman, but Rory saved him. Kimberly and Bert look at each other at what happens right as the movie goes on. They're having a barbecue. Brian blows up by the barbecue pit. His arm ends up coming across his mom's plate, and that's how the movie ends. I swear to God, that was crazy. That was bananas. That was 110% banana. If I have to give a rating on a scale of 1 to 5, this was definitely a 4 for me. This was my introduction to the Final Destination series. Like I said, I saw this before I saw the first one, and then I saw the first one, and I kind of put the two and two together. I thought the first one was okay. It was a little slow for me. The second one was much, much better for me. And then as they go along, they get different, but the kills get more intense, get more creative. It just get better with time. All right, so there is my review and breakdown of Final Destination 2. Next week, since we will be, I think next week is another movie, and then it's, wait, let me just see. Next week's movie will be, next week's movie will be the classic, the original, The Exorcist. I'll let you guys pick the movies the last few weeks. I think this week I'm going to do I think next week, because Halloween I think is on a Monday this year, I'll do The Exorcist and, finish out the spooky reviews that way. So before I get into my last talking point, then getting to the get the fuck out of here word, I will say that these spooky reviews have been fun as shit, because I've been watching movies that I probably wouldn't have watched otherwise, or have, like with Child's Play and Final Destination, and even Hellraiser, movies I haven't seen in a while, and they were interesting. So I would like to thank you guys who participated in the voting and helped me, pick these movies and gave me something to do, all while, trying to have all while having content for you guys to listen to and and watch. All right. Last but not least, my last talking point. And this one really is not going to need too much talking about because I don't think there are going to be too many people that are going to disagree with this. Kanye West. Kanye West is crazy as batshit. And this is the time for us to decide whether we're going to help this black man or we're going to cancel this black man. Now, I don't usually talk about canceling people because personally, I think cancel culture is stupid, but because I feel like people should be able to feel the way they want to feel and have freedom of speech. But I also think that people should be willing and prepared to be able to take the consequences of what's going to come behind all that. Any racist hate speech, any anti-Semitic comments, things like that. You should be ready, be prepared to deal with the backlash that's about to come your way. And as everybody by now has seen, heard, watched, listened to, Kanye made some anti-Semitic comments, plus talked about George Floyd on the Drink Champs podcast, and I don't agree with any of that. Now, I want people to understand something. Drink Champs, under no way, shape, or form, should be held liable. Drink Champs is just a platform for people to be able to say what they need to get things out. Drink Champs did not know this man was going to come up here and talk that talk. Now, what I will say is I did listen to Charlamagne, and I did listen to Charlamagne with Nori and DJ Envy and Angela Yee on The Breakfast Club, where Nori did apologize for that because he felt like, and he wasn't apologizing for the interview, he was apologizing because that hurt a lot of people. And he knew that. And Charlamagne did tell Nori, hey, you shouldn't have had him on the show anyway. But in the end, I feel like there's only two things we can do now where it comes to Kanye West. We could either help save this man, or we could cancel him. My thing is, and this is just my personal opinion, it's just me. It's just been time to put that man, to cancel that man. He's a genius musically. But I want him to understand something. I want people to understand something. Kanye West does not realize that everything he's saying has a consequence. Talking about there was no knee, the knee on the neck didn't kill George Floyd, it was fentanyl. Hell no. Bro, it was a fucking autopsy. Told you. Yeah, he was killed by asphyxiation from the police officer having his knee on the dude's neck. What more do you need to see? And Kanye needs to realize these people don't. He needs to stop trying to appease the white folks. Because that's what I think it is. He's trying to fit in so much and alienating his own people. The people that defended him, the people that stood up for him, the people that made him who he is. But of course, people don't seem to realize, he doesn't seem to realize that. Oh, he's bipolar? Nigga, take your medicine. I don't want to take my medicine. So you are gonna run around, talk that talk? Nigga, please. On my scale, I have a friend that's talking about, oh, they're scared for when we talk about wait. Shut up. I understand truth is truth. Facts are facts. But it's not for you to keep running around and talking that talk. We know the truth. And you're talking about going and putting it out in the world. Nigga, you don't have to do that. Not everything has to be said. What has to be done is we need to do the things to make sure that's not what it is. Like, nigga, talk about, let's put it this way. Some years ago, Timberland said, oh, well, we don't need to, I didn't make my shoes, my boots, for black folks. And instead of us boycotting it and not wearing Timberlands anymore, we kept wearing them shits. Recently, we had the thing with Gucci. We stopped wearing it for 3 months and then went back to wearing the shit. What do you think they're gonna ever take us seriously when we don't do these things? Like the whole thing where everybody was Jay-Z and football. I don't get me wrong. I'll watch a football game here and there. I'm a big Giants fan, so I'm not gonna be hypocritical on that. But for a couple years, I didn't watch one football game. People need to realize, and Kanye needs to realize, that you don't have to, everything doesn't need to be said. It's up to us to do what we need to do in quiet, in secrecy. Because once we do what we need to do, then they're going to want to know why. And then you could come out and say it. Because then it's not anti-Semitic. Then it's, oh, I forgot. Then it's, what can we do to fix that? Then it's a different conversation. But for you to just come out and say it, and there's no context to it, this is what the fuck happened. Ladies and gentlemen, don't get me wrong. What Kanye may have said about the Jews may be absolutely 100% correct. But it's not for him to run around and just put that out there. It's for us to come together, make sure we can get that out there in the right way so it doesn't look like we're being anti-Semitic. It looked like we're fixing a fucking problem. And guess what? This is what happened. This is exactly what happened. But irregardless, it's time for us to either decide as black people, do we keep Kanye or do we help save this man or do we cancel this man? Personally, I think he's beyond saving because he's going to do what the fuck he wants to anyway. He's a billionaire now. But now we need to teach him a lesson about the same way we give it, we take it away. And that's just me. That's my 2 cents about Kanye. And guess what? Somebody might give it and take it away anyway, because he is about to get sued by the George Floyd family and for $250 million. And I hope he loses. But again, that's just my 2 cents. All right. So last but not least, as you know, I give out this award every week. I got to make sure I give out this award every week because motherfuckers do shit that just make you be like,
Get the fuck out of here!
I mean, like for real. This week's award goes to none other than Herschel Walker. That stunt he pulled on the debate stage while he was debating Raphael Warnock. And what makes it even worse is he didn't even show up to the next debate, which I don't even think he'll be at any more debates. But at the end of the day,
Dialpad's AI sales has completely.
at the end of the day, this man is a fucking clown. And Georgia, if this is the man that I'm going to play you, Georgia, if this is the man that you want to represent you in the United States Senate, you motherfuckers is stupid than a motherfucker. But just to show you what I mean, watch and listen.
Pretended to be a police officer.
Hold up. Let me run that
One thing
back.
I have not done, I've never pretended to be a police officer. And I've never threatened a shootout with the police.
Well, and now I have to respond to that.
We are moving on,
I have to
gentlemen.
respond to that. And you know what's so funny? I am with many police officers, and at the same time,
Mr.
Pastor,
Walker, Mr. Walker,
no.
Mr. Walker,
When he
Mr.
said a
Walker,
problem
excuse
with
me,
the truth,
Mr. Walker,
when he
please,
said a problem
out of
with the truth,
respect,
the truth is
I
in
need to
here.
let you know, Mr.
Yes.
Walker, you are very well
Yes.
aware of the rules tonight.
Yes.
And you have a prop.
Yes.
That is not allowed, sir. I
Yes.
ask you to put that prop away.
well, it's not a problem. This is real. And he said I have a problem. I never
it is
worked with law
considered a
enforcement.
prop, Mr. Walker.
Yes.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
You're very well aware of the rules, aren't you?
Well,
Aren't you aware of the
he
rules?
brought up the truth. Let's talk about the truth.
Thank you for putting that
Yes.
prop away.
One thing I have not done,
Okay, so I want y'all to just look at it. The nigga pulled a toy fucking badge out on the stage to say he was a fucking police officer. He has never been a police officer. That nigga was a football player. He's never been a police officer. Yo, word up. All I'm going to say is this, man. And I'm going to leave it at that. If you want this stupid motherfucker to represent you, Georgia, in the Senate, God help us all. But you know what? This week, Herschel Walker gets this.
Get the fuck out of here!
And that's just real talk. I'm just going to keep it real. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this was a good week. It has been a great week. We got one more spooky review in the spooky series to go. That will be The Exorcist next week. Same time, same bat station. But until then, you can email me at sowwhatyousaying5@gmail.com. That's SOWTUSAYIN5@gmail.com. Find me on Facebook at So What You Saying. Find me on Instagram at So What You Saying. Then hit us up on Twitter at What's Saying on Twitter. You can also find me on my link tree at So What You Saying. You can also, and I please implore everybody, to follow us on Twitch. Give us a follow on Twitch. Very much important. It'll help the whole thing go. I want to thank you guys for joining me this week. I want to say peace, love, and hair grease, and everybody be safe for the next and enjoy your weekend.